Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, managing editor of Canada's podcast. Joining me today on Edmonton's podcast is Jesse Shuchuk, who is founder and CEO of Modern Muse Media. Thanks for joining us today, Jesse.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, let's talk about what you do and what, it's kind of similar in some ways, and we'll get into a conversation about video and social media and all that stuff as well. But let's start off by just talking a little bit about Modern Muse Media and what you do.
Well, we are Alberta's premier video training agency. We do have clients as well across Canada into the States. But what we do is actually boutique white glove video training. So different from video production companies. And at one time we did do production, but our focus right now is on educating and empowering and elevating folks to really embrace this video thing that can be really daunting and overwhelming for businesses.
Let me just ask, how did you start in all this, and the why? Why did you start in this?
Well, the why goes back a long time. So I've been shooting videos since I was 10 years old with my grandma and grandpa's VHS camcorder that I could
Yeah,
barely put on my shoulder. And then when I was in
much easier with these days, right?
when I was in high school, I did an aptitude test and it said broadcast. And I was 17 when I started school, 19 when I began my career. And here we are 24 years later. So I've done everything under the sun other than feature film, which is on my bucket list. But I've done oil and gas videos up in Fort McMurray. I've done entertainment reporting for City TV on camera. And then I was co-executive producer of an award-winning television series called Blackstone, which you can find on Netflix and Amazon and CBC. And I did that for 7-8 years, 5 seasons. And then I started my own company, Modern Muse Media, thereafter.
So what was the attraction for you for video?
You know, I was the second eldest of 11 grandchildren in a big Ukrainian family, and I just loved capturing visual performance, if you will. So I would watch my cousins and we would do commercials or music videos to Roxette and, different 80s tunes and such. And I just loved using the camera and capturing those moments. And unfortunately, we don't have any of those moments because Grandpa may have recorded my grandma's favorite soap opera over top of them, and she may have almost killed him that day. But it was just, yeah, it was just what we did. And now I've taken that fun and that hobby and turned it into not only a lifelong career, really, but also a business.
Yeah. Now, when you look at video, can you talk a little bit about our fascination, I guess, these days for video? Like, obviously with the Instagram and TikTok out there, etc. We seem to be, as a society, just fascinated by this.
Well, video is a way that we can transcend the lens in order to get that human connection. And honestly, through COVID, our business actually did quite well because of that. So prior to that, I was standing on a skyscraper, if you will, for a visual saying, everybody needs video. And then during the pandemic, I rappelled down to ground zero where everyone was needing help to embrace this technology. What we do through video is we actually create that experience of being able to connect with folks almost in person. And it's that person form and it's the energy and it's the tone and the voice and the facial features that we're getting to see and hear. And so it is the next best thing to in person. Video also takes you into those fly on the wall experiences that we all love and crave, so it's why what people are having for breakfast or how you make a smoothie or watching your workout for the day, people want to see this. And I think it's about belonging. I think it's about community, and video is the medium to do all of that.
How effective do you think video is for businesses?
It is the premier way to market and build your business, and it is not going away. So I think that there is a bit of mentality, and I feel definitely people who are adverse to this, they think it's going away, just like folks thought Facebook was going away and that it would never be used for business. And that was proven wrong. We are just going to be seeing more and more of video messages and videoing of everything. There's a thought leader and in the business called Gary Vaynerchuk, and has been saying for years and years that every single business will be what they obviously focus on and their expertise, as well as in-house production companies, which is why in June of last year we shut down our production arm and pivoted to focus primarily and solely on video training, because how are dentist offices and nonprofits and plumbing agencies or whatever the case may be going to know how to do this? They're expected to know social media. We finally have people finally embracing this, and now they're going to need to do video. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And so of course there's discomfort and people going, no, I mean, enough is enough. But where the future is going and heading is that organizations and businesses will need to know how to do professional, awesome video from within. And we, as Trailblazers, are an organization that comes to your place of business and we work with you in-house to teach you, like I like to say, how to drive the car. We're driver training for video, right? We teach you how to do it well from within.
So there, when you look at the video and social media, they really go hand in hand, don't they?
They do. They do. And it's why our signature training program is called Social Media Video Training Program. And it's so long, and we've discussed this internally for 7 years. We're like, can we not find something shorter or smaller? And it's like, no, because folks can be doing video, but they need to know how to utilize that video, how to maximize that video on the social media platforms, in their newsletter, on their website. And so that's a part of our teachings and curriculum. So it's not enough to be creating video content. You need to know where to put it, how to put it, when to boost it, how to engage. And that's also a part of our teachings and curriculum, because it's all a part of the package.
Mm-hmm. What about yourself and being an entrepreneur? How have you enjoyed that journey, or maybe not enjoyed the actual entrepreneurship part of it, right?
I love that you asked that, and in that way, because being an entrepreneur has definitely been the hardest thing I have ever done. And I, was a co-executive producer. I ran a cast and crew of over 500 people. And I thought I was running and I thought I was hustling then. Nothing compares to owning your business. And I'm going to be honest, if somebody had told me what I was going to go through when I started this 7 years ago, I don't know if I would have.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a good thing, because here I am with something that I think is a pretty special and unique offering. It's been tremendously difficult as a single parent because I'm the sole earner. And so not only are you hustling, you're running a business, and you have the weight of providing for a team and ensuring that they get paid and that their families get fed. But there's not a second income earner, and there's not, a net, if you will. And so a lot of people have said that was absolutely crazy. And I would have to absolutely concur.
Yeah.
It's like what I have done and am still doing is tremendously difficult on my own. And that's definitely a testament to the tenacity, grit, and insanity that I embrace, I think, as a human being.
Well, I have an old friend of mine that goes back like, I don't know, 30 plus years, and he's an artist now. And well, not now, he's been an artist for a long time, but I remember him telling me one day about, being an artist and then being a business owner, right? And because there's two elements of what he does, right? And I didn't understand what he was saying until, I became myself the same thing, right? This is what I do as a journalist, but I also have the business part of it. What's your advice for people, to beyond taking care of what they actually do, but the business side of things? Any words of wisdom there for how to navigate that part of it?
Yeah. Ask for help.
Yeah.
So I am an A type, and I speak about this on stages, and I talked on other podcasts about this. And I just had this cloak on this do or die, this something to prove. And a lot of that comes from how I was raised and even my Ukrainian heritage, the work ethic, the ingrained labor intensive hustle mentality, that's how you accomplish things in this world. And I was going to prove that I could do this all on my own, which sent me into burnout and hospitalization twice.
Mm.
So I am now in a position where I reach out and I ask for help. And there are a lot of people that have been through exactly what I have been through. And you don't need to, cover your face, go into the gravel and take those falls and get that road rash, if you will, when you ask for help. And I wish I would have asked for help sooner. And that includes with the finances and being vulnerable to open up my books and help and listen to input and feedback in regards to how to run a business.
Yeah.
Because I know how to run a TV show and I know how to run corporate videos and project lead and project manage. And I am a content creator and I am a visionary without question. But I never went to business school and I don't have any business experience. And all of the savvy has come through road rash
Mm.
up until now.
Yeah.
And now I ask for help.
Mm. So what do you do? Obviously to not get burnt out, and it's an issue that really all entrepreneurs face because they're almost 24/7 on the job. If they're not doing it, they're thinking about it, right? So what do you do personally not to get to that state of burnout?
It was interesting. I was just talking about this on another podcast yesterday, and I loved the way she put it, and I'm going to actually credit her. So Heather Roberts, and her podcast is Business Boundaries and Boobs, said non-negotiable boundaries. And for me, that was radical self-care. Now, for women, radical self-care can be connected to, wine with the girls or wine in the bathtub or wine, or whatever the case may be. And I've fallen into that trap. No, radical self-care is booking and blocking off time in your calendar in your morning to meditate or go for a run. Radical self-care is stopping at 3:30 when you have your kid, and I have her for 50% of the time on the weeks that I have her, and shutting down for the evenings to try and be present with her. Not always, not it doesn't always work, but you try, right? Radical self-care is getting away and taking those breaks and knowing that your business isn't going to fall apart in those times. A lot of it has to do with trust. A lot of it has to do with setting up systems and maybe again bringing in a team, or even if you're a solopreneur, a partner or some referral partners or a structure, a support structure, so
Yeah.
that you don't need to be going all on all cylinders 24/7, because it is unsustainable.
Yeah, exactly.
Boundaries. And I'm just learning about that and starting, over the course of the last couple of years, and I've had to for my health.
Yeah. When you look at your journey, Jesse, who has helped you along the way, in terms of, as a role model, perhaps, or mentor? Can you talk a little bit about that?
I have had a couple definite defining mentors that changed the trajectory of my world and my life. And I love the opportunity to do a shout out. So there was, first of all, Susan Fatima Leonard, who was the president of WIFTA, Women in Film and Television of Alberta. And when I left the show and left a relationship, I was in a really, really bad state. I didn't know what I was going to do, and I didn't know how I was going to feed my child. And she was there to just believe in me. And I love to say Modern Muse Media was forged from an ugly cry on the kitchen floor, because it was. I was on the phone, I was in a heap, and I was talking to her and I said I was going to quit. I wasn't even in the industry anymore. And she said, "No, you're going to start a production company. We're going to be your first client and you're going to be vice president of WIFTA." And I just said, yes, okay, and trusted, and took her figurative hand that was reaching through and allowed her to pull me up off that floor, and just one day at a time.
Hmm.
The other mentor was Dan Kern, Dan Kern, and he was just this special human being that walked through the doors of our office, was introduced to me by a woman who was shadowing and working with me, Catherine Mondragon, my first muse. And Dan walked up to me and said, "Hey, have you ever thought about training other businesses and helping them share their story? And you have 20 years of experience, and it would be a shift in this direction. How do you feel about veering?"
Yeah.
And I said yes. And so that was about a year into the business, and that's when we developed the training arm and the curriculums and the workshops and things like that. We still had production at the time. We had a
Mm,
production arm and a training arm
mm.
up until last year. But those two were definitely significant in the building of my business and this vision.
So where do you think the ability for yourself to overcome challenges, and obviously from your conversation here, there have been challenges in your life, and and stuff you've gone through, where do you think the ability or the will, I guess, to overcome those challenges comes from?
Chemical makeup. I don't know. Yeah, I honestly, it's definitely a personality trait. I'm extremely driven, and I guess never give up, right? And there are days when I feel like I want to. There are days where I just think it would just be so much easier to just take a job and make well over six figures again, and not have any of this debt or these loans that are outstanding for building a team and building a business, and all of the stress in the world would go away. But it wouldn't. There'd be different problems, and it's a passing thought. And so you let that pass through, and you just dig deep. You dig deep and you find the energy or the something to focus on, the smallest positive that will turn into larger positives to get you out of bed and to get you to keep going. And I'm really lucky. I got to tell you that most days I really love what I do, and I'm pretty excited and eager
Hmm.
to try new things or to talk to those clients or to meet with the team. And and then there's definitely tough times throughout. So it's an ebb and flow,
Yeah.
and it's really embracing that that's what it's going to be. There was this little gif or gif or whatever you want to call it, meme, that I saw, that was this chart of a day in the life of an entrepreneur, right? And you start up fresh and you're super enthused and excited, and then
Yeah.
an hour and you're like, I can't go on. And then here it's like, okay, I got an interest of somebody else, and then you're down by lunchtime, you're like, I need to get a job, and then after lunch you're up again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, this is a day in a day,
Yeah.
is and that's the reality,
Yeah.
right?
What do you do outside of work, I guess, to give you some sense of, I guess, stress release?
I play pickleball, I play volleyball, I run, and most recently I actually just auditioned for one of the lead singers of a corporate band, a band that's here in the city that's been around for many, many years. It's been about 20 years since I've sang with a band and been on stage. So our first gig is in April, and I'm incredibly nervous, but it's a dream and it's a passion, singing. So yeah, I
What
have.
kind of music?
Well, they focus on the classics, the ones that get people up dancing and such. So mostly, 70s and 80s, and the really fun tunes, if you will. One of the songs I'll be singing is "I Love Rock and Roll," Joan Jett.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think those things do keep me sane, ish. When you're on the pickleball court, or when you're out playing volleyball, or um, when you're on stage, you're not thinking about the business. And so it
Yeah.
does give you that mental break. You can't be thinking about the business.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely recommend carving out some things for yourself. And that wasn't a thing that wasn't accessible for me up until the last few years, until my daughter's now of an age where she can be at home. So prior to that, I had to give up a lot of my extracurricular and such because I wasn't able to leave her. So this has really just opened up in my world, and I think it's helped a lot.
Cool. Now I have to ask, okay, you mentioned pickleball. I thought that was an old folks game.
Or hipsters. Uh,
Okay.
we're somewhere right in the middle. No, yeah, it was, but it's really gaining momentum and it's super fun and it's filling up so fast. We actually weren't able to get into the spring registration, but it's really widening its demographics. So yes, it was indeed. But yeah, we've been playing for a year and a half, 2 years now, and we're definitely seeing a lot more young folks come out. And we thought we were going to go in and kick some butt and against some of the older demographic, if you will, and they just slaughtered us. They
Oh,
just
wow.
slaughtered us because all they do is play pickleball all day. So they're so good.
That's kind of like me when I play bocce and in the Italian league, and it's those old guys that are like around 90. They just kick my butt all the time. Like, holy smoke!
Yeah,
There's something to be said for experience, right?
that, that's right. Most definitely.
So,
Mhm.
I'm just curious, when you talk about storytelling, uh,
Mhm.
and I think I remember seeing something a while back about storytelling being the new marketing.
Yes,
Do you think so?
100%. Storytelling is the most powerful way to put ideas into the world. And I'm quoting somebody, Robert Crouch, I believe. But essentially, that started with Simon Sinek and the why and what is your why, and really embracing that, and then teaching people how to drill down to that, and then talking about the story, and then furthermore, talking about their clients' stories and coming from a point of view that's about them rather than about you.
Mhm.
So, what is great is video is a powerful tool for storytelling. So, that all very much aligns. We cover that in our curriculum as well. Module 3 and 4 are focus and story very specifically. So, really work with clients to try and help them drill down on that so that they're able to utilize that in the ideation sessions they have with us in regards to video content. So, what are you filming? What are you doing? What kinds of videos are you making? And how do you tell stories through video?
Mm,
And it's
yeah.
potent, powerful stuff.
So, you're based in Edmonton. Tell me a little bit about I don't know, what is it like being an entrepreneur in Edmonton and in this province?
Edmonton is definitely a fantastic place to run a business. There are a tremendous amount of communities of which I'm involved in. So right now I'm the president of the Edmonton Business Association, and I'm also a member of the Edmonton Synergy Network. I'm also a member of the Edmonton Chamber of Commerce, and a few of the different chambers in and around surrounding areas. Uh, Edmonton has just that blue collar, unique spirit.
Yes.
And it is known for that, even when in comparison to Calgary, which is slated to be much more white collar. But what comes with that in Edmonton is that grounded approachability. And that is really what we do. You know, you're walking down the street, you do smile and wave at people. You run into, it's the big little city, right? You run into folks you know everywhere you go,
Yeah.
everywhere you go. And so it just is really supportive in regards to being an entrepreneur because there's so much connection and the ability to see people regularly and feel connected
Yeah.
within the community.
So
Mhm.
when you look at the videos themselves, in terms of who's doing them, is it more? I guess is it more easy for somebody of a younger generation to embrace the idea of it because they've grown up with it and they see it everywhere, as opposed to a 50 to 60-year-old businessman, right, or a businesswoman, or are they getting it now too?
It depends on the person. So you're absolutely right. I wasn't raised on technology, and anyone 35 plus wasn't raised on technology, and so there's just more resistance to get through. And but that's okay.
Mhm.
It's just your own barriers that you're setting up in
Yeah.
front of yourself because it's that excuse, well, I'm not going to be able to do it. I wasn't raised on it. It's so easy for the young kids. Yes, without question, it is. It is. And
Mhm.
so with younger folks that are handling the marketing or social media management or whatever the case may be, we're often leveling them up rather than starting in an entry level. So it's just more customized training. It's just coming at it
Mm.
depending on where they're at. But we have worked with folks that didn't know how to find the cameras on their phone,
Yeah.
and we have trained them to do video. So if you have patience and kindness with yourself and can overcome some of that mindset block, that is, I'm too old for this technology, or that's for the young kids, or I'm never going to be able to do it, or I can't stand myself in front of the camera. That is the stuff most often that we need to get through versus the actual technology itself.
Mhm.
Can a 50 or 60-year-old learn how to drive a car? Absolutely.
Mm.
So why couldn't they learn how to operate a camera proficiently on their phone? It's a
Yeah.
technical specialized skill. They just need somebody most often with them holding their hand or over their shoulder in person, typically. That's how I learn best.
Yeah.
And that's why I built a business on that. And there to show them to hold their hand, right?
Mhm.
Let's try it
Exactly.
again. And then repetition. Let's do that again.
Yeah.
So drive to the place enough times and you're going to know how to get there on your own.
True. True. If you weren't doing this, what do you think you'd be doing?
I'd be a psychologist or
Oh,
a neuro.
good. Why?
I love the brain. I love well, maybe sociologist. I'm huge into professional development and growth, and study attachment styles and consume. It's really funny. It's not video stuff. Like, you look at your passions when you go to your Instagram channel and see all the folks you follow, and it's French bulldogs and anything to do with mindset, psychology, attachment styles, those kinds of things, and how humans work and connect and react
Mhm.
and so it was funny because I wanted to. My sister reminds me, because I talk about this stuff all the time, and she goes, "There's still time. You said that you were gonna, essentially go into the field, film and television, or become a psychologist," and that never left me. That's the fascination with the brain and the human experience.
Oh, interesting. Wow. Anything else, Jesse, you wanted to mention that I didn't bring up or didn't ask you?
I don't know. I think you covered it. You got the experience, the journalism, right? I love it, and yeah, I feel like we it was very well rounded.
All right. Well, I do get up to Edmonton often. I'll have to make sure of catching one of your performances. And I love rock and roll. Love to hear that.
That's awesome. Well, I just want to thank you again, Mario, for this opportunity and for reaching out. And that was through LinkedIn. So obviously, what we're doing
Mhm.
is walking the talk, because you saw me and saw us, and that was awesome in itself. So
All right. Wonderful. Thanks very much, Jesse, for joining us today.
thank you.
All
Take
right.
care.
That was Jesse Shuchuk, who is founder and CEO of Modern Muse Media. I'm Mario Toneguzzi, managing editor of Canada's podcast on Edmonton's podcast today. Thanks for joining us.